Welcome to the third episode of our No Violence November podcast, where we interview experts on how we can eliminate violence in our communities, region, and beyond. Our next guest is Miss Anita Lewis. Miss Lewis is the guidance counselor at Elliott County High School. Miss Lewis, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. I'm honored to be here.
As a guidance counselor in our school, what do you believe is the most common cause of altercations in our school system?
I would have to say that the most common causes of altercations in the high school would probably be, the root causes would be relationships, breakups, social media. I think that plays a large part. Things can be misconstrued or misunderstood. And sometimes maybe not misunderstood. Maybe that the posts or the texts may be mean. And I think that carries over then to school, even if it's done at home and out of school hours.
How can we as a student body alleviate some of those root causes?
I think you guys in the JAG program have already started that with your No Violence November. You guys are really taking control, and our student body is recognizing what you guys are doing, even the shirts. And I wore mine today, and mine says kindness, yours is freedom. So I think just by being seen as a unified group against things like that, I think that's one start. I also think that building a strong culture of inclusion, I have seen schools that they do a switch up day. And I thought maybe I would talk to you guys about that eventually. They pick a day, maybe 2 days a month, that you do a switch up at lunch. And you can title it whatever you want. And it's announced at the beginning of the day. Anytime that you are in the cafeteria, you switch up and you have to sit with a different peer group.
I love that.
So everybody is included and you are meeting new people. And if you have kids that eat lunch maybe by themselves, then that day they're not, and then that may carry over. So I think, being inclusive. I also think positive peer norms, and I think probably with this No Violence November, that is a positive peer norm. Another example of that would be groups getting together, and if you see students doing things that you're not supposed to, just a common phrase that all students would use, and you JAG kids can start this. Hey, we don't do that here. We don't do that here can be a common phrase used in the high school. So things like that, just everybody taking a leadership role and including others, I think would be a start.
I really like that.
Thanks.
What are some ways that we can de-escalate violence in our personal lives?
In your personal life, and that's where the de-escalation probably has to start for everyone, you've got to learn to self-regulate. And sometimes that's difficult if we are approached or given a situation where we get angry pretty quick. You can do self-regulating techniques like box breathing. I have to do that sometimes, and not even when I'm angry, if I'm just frustrated or if I have anxiety, I do that box breathing. Have you ever heard of that? You do breathe in 4 seconds, hold it 4 seconds, breathe out 4 seconds. Let's try it. 1, 2, ready? 2, 3, 4. Release. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, doesn't that kind of calm you down?
Yeah.
So that's kind of like you're de-escalating yourself. And not only de-escalating from anger, but anxiety too. So I do that sometimes just if I'm anxious. I think another way that we can do that in our personal lives is to set boundaries. If somebody is frustrated with you or angry with you, you can just set this boundary. Hey, I'm not ready to talk about that right now. We'll do that maybe later when you're not so upset. You don't have to address every issue right then. You do have the ability to protect yourself and set that boundary.
What can we learn about conflict resolution in high school that we can take with us after we graduate?
Well, conflict resolution begins by self-regulating yourself. So if you learn those self-regulating techniques, and I would say long before high school that we should do that, and if you learn those, you will do that your whole life. I'm not in high school, and I do that now to self-regulate myself. So if you learn those and you practice those, then you're not only going to do that now, you will do that as an adult.
Thank you. Now we will take a short break. When we come back, we will talk more about conflict resolution and what we can do to help end bullying and fighting in our school. We'll be right back with more from Miss Lewis on our No Violence November podcast.
This is a powerful call to action from the students of Elliott County High School Jobs for America's Graduates.
November is here, and so is an opportunity for change. This year, we're launching something essential.
At Elliott County High School, we are implementing No Violence November. You can join us by taking a simple pledge.
We pledge to seek others, be kind, and make safe choices.
We pledge to use our voices for good and choose words to build understanding.
We pledge to listen actively to the opinions of others and seek positive ways to communicate.
Violent acts touch our communities, our state, our nation, and our world.
Imagine a world where every voice is heard and every conversation builds understanding. A world where we choose positive ways to communicate and truly listen to one another. We're inviting everyone to join our movement and eliminate violence in our world.
Together, we can make a difference.
To sign the pledge, visit us on Facebook at our page, Elliott JAG. That's ELLIOTT JAG. This is more than a month. It's the start of a new way to live. Join us today. On the next episode of our No Violence November podcast.
Conversation about my anecdotal experience of working 22 years in a trauma center. And what I would say my experience would be is that a tremendous amount of the encounters where someone has been physically beaten, stabbed, or shot, the number of those people who are involved in that violent crime, one of the two people are commonly intoxicated.
Recently, we had the opportunity to chat with Brian Atkins, a native of Elliott County. Brian is now a professor of emergency medicine and an emergency room doctor at University of Kentucky Hospital.
Not all violence comes in dangerous circumstances. Sometimes it comes from people that you thought that you loved or people you thought you could trust. The hospital has to go down a little bit of a security alert, and they have to watch for who comes in to see that person, because that person could also be coming in to enact revenge, or that person could be just, pretending to be a family member, but really coming in to try to check on somebody or to try to finish the job, so to speak.
See you next week.
I didn't mean to take you all by surprise by practicing your breathing, but that's a really good one.
It could have showed them something.
I use that. Oh, I use that
Actually,
daily.
I was going to ask for an example anyway.
And I'm sorry I took your question.
Oh, you're fine.
But I do that daily, and not just, like I said, not just because I'm angry. I do that because it is so fast-paced at that high school, and I am constantly churning. And sometimes I just have to say, wait a minute.
And that just, it helps me.
Maybe even if people are too uncomfortable to go to you, that'll if they watch it, they know some way they can help if they have stress and stuff. Welcome back to our No Violence November podcast. We are talking with Elliott County High School guidance counselor, Miss Anita Lewis.
As a lifelong member of our community, would you say that violence in our school system has gotten worse over the years?
In our school system?
Yeah.
I don't think so. I don't think it's any different as a guidance counselor at the high school as opposed to when I was a student at Elliott County High School. I don't think, we have a few fights here and there. We had a few fights then. I don't think that the violence is any different in our school. I don't think it's worse, no.
What about bullying over the years? Do you think that's gotten worse?
I think probably you would venture to say with the social media, I think the hidden bullying where people don't know maybe who is posting or making these comments on certain posts, I do feel like that is definitely worse. I don't see much of a difference in typical day-to-day bullying, but social media has made it very easy for people to feel targeted and bullied.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah.
So you'd say social media has really made a change in the way violence has impacted over the years.
I do.
Whenever you were younger, it's completely changed.
Agreed. I agree with that. Yes.
Should all students be required to participate in conflict resolution education?
I would love to see all students, not just at the high school, beginning kindergarten level, participate in some type of conflict resolution. And I've even thought about looking into certain programs. It's hard for me to reach every student at the high school since I'm the only guidance counselor. So I've looked into maybe getting some type of conflict resolution program that can be implemented in a core class. Every freshman has to have health and PE. I think that some type of program to be added to that health course that is required to graduate would be great.
It definitely really could be like intertwined within the lessons.
Absolutely.
But we're taking that right now, and I can definitely see that being put in there.
That could be some type of section that the teacher does.
Do you feel like all the students have someone they can go to if they need it?
During the day at the high school, I would like for that person to be me. I would hope that every student out there would feel like they could come to me for anything that they would need. And I think our teachers, we have some very caring teachers and staff. So I feel like that everyone should have a trusted adult, and I hope that they do. And if you don't feel like you do, please come and see me.
After students who get in trouble visit your office, is there any follow-up conflict resolution counseling?
Okay, I want to go back to your very first part of that question. After students get in trouble and come to my office, I'm not a trouble office. When you get in trouble, if there is an issue that has to be addressed with discipline, that's the principal's office. The guidance counselor's office is not where you go when you're in trouble. It's where you go when you need some help and advice. And if there is an altercation or if there is some type of conflict, I'm not saying that I don't see kids, but I don't want anybody to think they're going to get in trouble just because that they have an altercation. And I do address conflicts, and we talk about, even if it's with 2 people, 3 people, 5 people, we'll talk things out, and we do talk about different conflict resolutions. And I do try to check on those students. In particular, if we have a meeting and we have a session where there is an issue, I try to check on them in a week or so and say, hey, how's it going? Is it better or worse? What's going on? Tell me what. And so I do try to follow up, yes.
There could even be like some students who are trying to get in trouble, so that way that they like get noticed and people do see their issues, and maybe that's why they do it to come see you.
What can we as high school students do to help in fighting bullying and violence?
Well, kind of like we discussed earlier, you could have the positive peer norms. If you see someone doing anything collectively as a group, it's just a common saying. Like, what is that big saying everybody says now? The 6-7? Is that it?
Yes.
I don't know much about that, but your common saying can be, hey, we don't do that around here. And people would know that. You can start groups of peer support groups. I really like, my daughter did one when she was in high school where the club paired upperclassmen with lowerclassmen. Seniors and juniors were paired with freshmen and sophomore just to do buddy things. Have you ever heard of the Big Brother program and all that?
Yes.
Big Brother,
Yeah.
Big Sister?
Yeah.
So kind of like that within your school. And so everybody, like you said earlier, would feel like that they have somebody they could go to, even not as a trusted adult, but as a friend.
Do you think that'd help our younger students?
I do. Especially your introverts. If you've got kids that don't like to talk a whole lot, that would kind of force them to have someone. And it's easier when you have someone a little bit older that's going to be a peer buddy as opposed to someone your own age, I think.
I think that would really help.
They would look up to them,
Mhm.
I think.
If you could use one word that represents your thoughts on reducing violence in our communities, what word would that be?
I would have to say encouragement. I think if everyone encourages one another, and everyone will then feel respected. And I think that just being encouraging to everyone would help.
Ms. Lewis, thank you again for joining us on our podcast. To our listeners, if you haven't signed our No Violence November pledge yet, we encourage you to visit bit.ly/ECHSJAG to join our movement to end violent acts. You can also follow our No Violence November Instagram page and our Elliott County JAG Facebook page to stay up to date on all the things we are doing in Elliott County High School JAG. Thank you for listening. We'll see you next week.